Hello and welcome to another episode of One to the Four Stars podcast. As you can tell by my voice, I am not Phil. It's me, George, joined tonight by Dave.
Evening.
And we have some Star Wars stuff to talk about. I don't really know how to do intros. You literally caught me off guard 20 seconds ago saying, wait, is it you? But we will try and recover without Phil. We had all of us back last time, which was great. Now it's back to one or two of us, and I'm hoping in 2 weeks that it's all three of us, especially for heading into the Last Jedi season. But
yes,
we have some things to talk about. We'll start off with not necessarily the biggest one, but certainly the best bit of news. Yesterday, Rian Johnson was on a TV show in America, and they just casually decided to release like a 2-minute featurette on the story of The Last Jedi. And for anyone watching at home that doesn't know, it's not spoiler-free. Go and watch it right now. No, wait, no, it is spoiler-free. Go and watch
it is spoiler. Yeah. The opposite of what you said.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think? I mean, you messaged me straight away, like, "Can I watch it?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah. As soon as it was announced, that was the first thing in my mind. Was like, can I watch this? Is there anything in this I don't want to see? And then George messaged me back about 5 minutes ago. No, you're fine. And I'm so glad I watched it, as this is really, as I say, it's a behind-the-scenes look. We saw one for Rogue One, and we saw one for The Force Awakens as well. We've had a behind-the-scenes sort of look at these things, and it's got some really great things in there. A lot of it is the cast talking about how much they all love Rian Johnson, skipping through like Mark and have Carrie Fisher, and just people generally love this guy, and that makes me more excited for the film. There's some lovely shots in there. We get to hear him talk about holy crap moments and talking about going on the Falcon for the first time. And also we see some things like we get to see Snoke's throne room in that gorgeous red set, and what looks like probably something on, I can never remember the name of the island Mark Hamill's on.
Anto. Just say island.
The island Mark Hamill that Luke's on, inside of a cave inside there where he keeps his books. So, I mean, I'm so glad I watched it. For 3 minutes, it's a really nice look behind everything, but gives you nothing at all. And not one Pog was seen in the making of this.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking that because they had Chewbacca's face in the window, and I was like, oh no, they're going to do some like Pog kind of joke. But no, it was absolutely nothing, which to me was wonderful to hear. Because they are everywhere, and we saw the ice dragons in the trailer last week. Oh, not ice dragon, ice wolf thing, don't know. They looked a million times cooler. But yeah, I mean, we did get a look at some new creatures very, very briefly. But yeah, it's just that the marketing on the Porgs, that this is their BB-8 for this year. This is what they're selling. This is what they want you to buy for your pets, for your siblings, for your parents. They want you to have Porgomania.
But now all I want is a Porg in a Hulk Hogan style T-shirt with Porgomania written on it.
The way their like lips are done, though, you can actually get the Hulk Hogan moustache. Different colours. And I'm sure there's like a racist Porg somewhere to do it as well. Just hates Wookiees.
We're gonna have to sort it out. That's a T-shirt designer right there. But yes, I mean it's a great thing. It's come out. I mean, we've just checked, and we're now 7 weeks away from The Last Jedi landing in cinemas, which is craziness. We're almost in November. It's going to be upon us before we know it. We'll be coming out of that midnight showing, ready to talk Star Wars again and be so excited about what we've seen. Hopefully, touch wood. I can't see this being a bad movie. The more and more I see of this, and this behind the scenes thing just egged that on as well, that Rian Johnson seems to have done amazing work. There's been not one bad word out of the camp. Nothing's been, oh, I have to do this. Nothing's been seems to have gone to reshoot. You've not had anything like that mentioned at all. It seems to be very much plain sailing for this movie. And I think the fact he's written and he's directing it, I think we're just in for something brilliant.
Yeah, it's a shame because obviously I love JJ, and Rian Johnson was. I think me and you both said we wanted Rian Johnson back to do 9, but if he's going to have this impact of 8, then I'm all for it because I've seen a lot of film productions. I've seen a lot of directors, everyone loving a director, but I don't think I've ever seen someone in the franchise of this, not importance, but this size and pressure, be so cool about everything. Like there was JJ that they had problems on set when they broke on his leg. JJ Abrams come out, I broke my back, didn't he? And there was all this stuff. And Rian Johnson, there's been like not a single bad word. He has been absolutely loving it. And you can tell he has, and the way that they're talking about him, some people will say it's generic, but we've just had the Thor film come out, and the director of that, Taika Waititi, he's another one where the cast have come out and they all get absolutely crazy for him, and you don't actually get that happen that often. It's always the directors talking about how much they love the actors.
Yeah.
But I love it when you get it flipped on its head. But it just makes you so much more excited for episode 8, and when it does come out in 50 days over here in England. 49 days right now, we'll be ready for episode 7 at the cinema.
Yes, we will.
And then in 49 days and 4 hours, it'll be episode 8. Crazy times. It's crazy.
I can't believe it now. We saw Rogue One and episode 8's coming, and now episode 8's literally almost upon us. It's insane.
And after episode 8,
so excited.
And after episode 8, we then only have a 5-month stint until Solo, a Star Wars story, is released. We had confirmation in the last couple of weeks that they've wrapped on the Han Solo film. Believe it or not, the Han Solo film isn't called the Han Solo film. It's just called Solo, a Star Wars story.
And that will drop to just Solo because they didn't use a Star Wars story in any of the Rogue One. Once it actually was out there, it's all just Rogue One. You never saw a Star Wars story, so we're going to just see Solo.
I just can't wait for Kylo Ren to be called Ben Solo in episode 8, and all these kids go to the cinema thinking it's a film about Kylo Ren or something. But it's a very odd. It's not an odd choice of name. Just put the second word in. Don't try and be smart.
It seems, it's the most obvious title in the world for this film, and yet you thought something else might have been out, something about being a smuggler or anything. But yeah, it came out. It was months and months ago that Woody Harrelson was seen in a crew shirt that had Solo written on it. It seems to have always been the title, but yeah, it's a little underwhelming, but it kind of says what it needs to. That's what this film is.
I can't wait for Carisi in a Star Wars story and Falcon a Star Wars story. What else could you get?
You can have Baka.
You can have
Baka a story. Fett.
But it's actually about Django, and all these Boba Fett fans are outraged.
Nice.
It's the font as well. I don't want to say it's one of the old Star Wars fonts. You know, the Empire. I don't know how to phrase it because it's always been a Star Wars font, but it's not. It's not the nice golden Rogue One size. It's not. It's like the old. It's like Empire Strikes Back, I think, had it, but it's bright yellow. Not that I'm looking into a font, but it looks like it was designed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Rogue One suited being that type, and what this film is meant to be, that witty bout. Am I looking into a font too much? But if you look at it, you know
not
what I mean.
Really, because how much do we hate the Rogue One font that's on the film?
Yeah,
that still seems that it was put in the last minute. We'll put Rogue One here, and just what typeface have we got? I've got this one. Put it on. It's fine.
Yeah, it's just the Solo thing was just so weird. I didn't know if they were going to. Because originally, when Rogue One was an anthology film, they had the gold still, didn't they? It always had Rogue One and anthology. But now it's Solo. I don't know. I'm looking into this far too much more thing about. But they've gone for one of the older Star Wars fonts. But I think it suits what this film's going to be. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. No. I think we're in for it. I think we're in for a surprise when this film comes out. Since Ron Howard took it over and he's been excellent with it all. The amount of spoilers that not spoilers, but the footage that he's given us and the pictures that he's given us, and there's been no stories of any ructions on set. No, I've heard no bad word come out about this film since Ron Howard was put on. So I think we are in for a better movie than we were in for. A very different movie from what we're in for as well. I think I honestly still think we're going to see a page one thrown out their film, and Ron Howard has now shot his Star Wars movie. And I don't think we'll see Phil or Chris Miller named anywhere on anything. Maybe hidden away in the credits somewhere, but there's no way they're getting those first few big credit pages at the end of the film.
I think it'll be like Michael Arndt, where, if anyone can remember, where his first draft, he didn't get a writing credit, but he got story credit, didn't he?
Story, yes, and about the third or fourth.
Although this is both Kasdan's writing it, I think somewhere they will just put their name in. If they don't, that's very, very ballsy of them, but...
I would think, the Directors Guild would have something to say about it if they don't get a credit anywhere. But I think there'll be very much a smaller credit, and those two as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm excited that once we'll get over Star Wars and we get more Star Wars, because then we have a bit of a gap. We don't get Episode 9 till 2019 Christmas. So it's 2019 Christmas.
Yeah, it's such a weird one because I loved originally when they bought them. Well, I was gutted. I went to December. Now it's December. It's home. Now that we've had 8 move to December, 9 move to December. Rogue One was obviously December. I don't mind with getting Han Solo film in May, but it's not going to feel right coming into December. It's almost like, not that they don't care because they do, but it's almost like they don't want to move it to December because they can't be asked to build it up for months and months.
Yeah.
Whereas this one's going to come out like 3 weeks after Infinity War, so it's gonna, I don't know. I mean, I think we'll get our first trailer attached to Last Jedi though.
I thought we might get it before we get Last Jedi, before it plays. We might get this is your exclusive trailer. Even I'm just wondering if it might just be like a midnight show and sort of thing. Like you're at the midnight show and you're at the double feature. This is something special for you guys, like something just a bit extra that we might see, even just like a teaser, just something where we might finally see Han Solo, which would be nice. I can't wait. Just needs to be here.
Yeah, it's great getting another film to fan. I can't wait to see Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. This is Star Wars news, but this isn't Star Wars news. This is Phil about going to MCM Comic Con London. He's going for I think Friday, Saturday. I'm going Sunday, so I won't see him there. But for those that are outside of England, don't know what MCM is. That's like our, I don't want to say our biggest convention company because I think Showmasters are better, but they do like a couple of big conventions a year. Reed Pop just bought them, announced Monday. Reed Pop hosts Star Wars Celebration, New York Comic Con, and they're the people that get people like Mark Hamill. They're the people that get these big names out of everywhere. And they've just bought out one of the biggest convention companies in England. So people are wondering, well, why is this now news? Because maybe one day you'll be able to get a Felicity Jones signature show for £300. Because our currency conversion is so bad, it's just going to go up in price at the minute.
Yeah, I think it's good news. I think they ran so well. I mean, Repop did run Celebration, Star Wars Celebration that we all went to and met at, and it was a really well run convention actually. It was all put together very well, and they often, the good thing about Repop was often they offer merch out as well after the event. Not all of it is then put in a box and sent to Phil, but I
was thinking of this earlier. They did send me an email saying they've still got Star Wars Celebration merchandise, and Phil's oven gloves, which were $30, they're now selling for $10. So
nice.
his box has actually decreased further in value.
It's just nuts.
I will not ever forget that moment where I thought, do I really go for it just in case I get one thing? And I thought, nope. And I was so proven right at Phil's horror.
We were watching
that video. You kind of laugh once, and then you kind of realize that you feel bad for him. I did want to watch it. It's on our channel. It's just he's so excited to open all this stuff, and then he gets to the end, and he's like, "Oh, yeah." It's I'm interested. I mean, I like going to cons mainly to meet people, not to dress up and do all that stuff. But I mean, they've had Hamill the last, I think, 2 New York Comic Cons. They've had him the last few celebrations. MCM, they got Donnie Yen in May, and they've had Anthony Mackie this year. They get the very odd. They're not big names, but they get people that you don't normally get, but very, very rarely. So, and if you look at Repop, they created New York Comic Con, and it's now had more attendees than San Diego, which in the space of 10 years is massive. They're going to take over London. I guarantee they'll drop to 1 London Comic Con a year, and they will eventually market this so high that it just become one of the major ones, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
probably costs us an arm and a leg, but it's cheaper than flying to America.
There is that side of it, yeah. So I mean, it is great news. I think you're right. It could become just one of the list of the Comic Cons you see around. You see San Diego, you see New York, you see London. And I think you'll definitely see that change coming in that. And yeah, it could be good times. I mean, it'll be great to get down to one of these if it gets big and they start bringing in like proper like movie casts and things like that to sell things, and rather than just the same doctors that you get at Oldham.
Yeah, it's the third guy on the left that played that Stormtrooper. Wow, what a terrific guest!
I mean, God bless them. They've made some good bank out of their appearing as a Stormtrooper and things like that. And
just if you ever get cast as an extra, just think to yourself, this isn't a job for a day. This is a convention scene for life.
Hells yes.
Fair play to the people that do it. I've got a lot more respect for people that just be extras and get up on their business. But then you get them the one person that's an extra for a day and then just goes to conventions the rest of his life. If anyone's never seen that documentary, I forgot the name of it, Elstree. Very funny moment when all the guys that have dialogue in the film say how much they hate all the other people in the documentary because they hate the people that went to conventions without ever doing a word of dialogue or acting. Very, very funny minute of the documentary. But yeah, that's all I think of. Next up, we've got some. Before we get to the big Star Wars Rebel stuff, we have a change to their schedule. So Disney went all out and thought, what we're going to do for last season of Star Wars Rebels is we're going to show it 5 times on the same day. We're going to show it, I think, like 12:30 at night. So like in the morning, 30 minutes past midnight. Then we're going to do it like 7 in the morning, was it? Then it was like 1. Then it was like 7 p.m. or 9 p.m. And it was a bit of chaos because spoilers were everywhere. It was great being up early because I woke up in the morning and we got it over here in England for once. And I think they realised after 1 week that, okay, this isn't working. Their viewing figures went down because it was staggered across the shifts and online, blah, blah, blah. So for anyone in America listening, Rebels time slots going back to 9 p.m. on a Monday. It used to be that on Saturdays, I think, but 1 showing a day out of next week. Who would have thought that would be news? The common sense to air a program once.
I think it starts in the UK as well. Is it this weekend, I think?
20, yeah, we get it. We get it on Saturday. We've already seen it because obviously we flew to America to watch it because we don't do that illegal stuff. Even though I just said I watched it in the morning.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. I'm sure no one picked up on it.
No, definitely not. But yeah, so UK gets it this morning. So if you think you're hard done by, then think about the people that have to watch it on Saturdays, 2 weeks after it's already aired.
Yeah. I mean, there are places to see these things. Obviously, we want to be able to give you reviews when we come out. So we have to see these things before in advance. But I've been dropping it from those 5 times. You get it. It is common sense that they're going to lose the big jump on viewing figures they get with having the episode just aired once. That's what happens if you go, right, we'll just split these 5 times. You're going to lose. You are going to lose a bit of audience. You might pick up a few here and there, but you are going to lose a big chunk of it. Yeah, you're right. It's just smart to move it back to having you 1 time. It's the last season. Why change it now when we're finishing with this? I think it's because they had those Force of Destiny, and they had those out a lot throughout the day because they were just 2-minute filler in between programs. So I think they thought, oh, we've put these out throughout the day. They've got people watching. So I wonder if that's behind a lot of the idea that we'll put this across the day for people to watch this as well. And then gone, oh no, not with a 22-minute cartoon.
Yeah, and two episode story arc as well, yeah. So it's an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just common sense. Moving on from that, we've got a lot more Rebels to discuss. We'll get to that very shortly. Star Tours is getting an episode 8 sequence. It's going to be during the Battle of Crate. Obviously, from the trailer, we've basically got the AT-ATs versus the Ski Speeders, I think they're calling them, the ATM-6s in case Phil's listening. I was quite shocked. Star Tours, you'd naturally think could get this, and then they come out and said it's going to be out in November.
Yeah,
in Disneyland America, and I was like, what? And early December, Disneyland Paris. And I was there like, I don't think it's going to have any spoilers, but normally you'd expect this to come after the films come out.
Yeah, it's a weird step to be able to then go and. I mean, yes, it's going to be a fly past. I mean, people who've ever ridden Star Tours know what it is. You fly through the different planets in Star Wars and fly through some battles, and I'm guessing you're going to probably fly through that battle that's going on with the ATM-6s. So I think, yeah, you're right. The release in America is weird, but again, from a 5-6 minute ride, you're probably not going to get a lot of detail other than probably a fly past, maybe past those ATM-6s. Is probably all you'll get. But it's, to be honest, it's hype as well. If they can get people in to go, come today, the ride is solely going to be the Adventure in Crate. And you get Disney fans or Star Wars fans who can get there, who'll go just for that to see what they can see on it as well.
They'll be watching for spoilers if anyone can get anything of any kind. Someone's going to hack the Disneyland server to see if they can get one millisecond off. Oh,
yeah.
Look, it's Phasma.
There's new footage. Oh, don't close your eye, you will miss it.
It's funny, but at least they're doing it quickly. But that's a bonus for the Disneyland people. I'm assuming this will be at Star Wars Island when it opens.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But and another thing, going back, because obviously we're every 2 weeks, the Star Wars trailer came out 2.5 weeks ago. You watched it in the last couple of days. Lucasfilm have announced that on the trailer itself, inside the first day, it had 129 million views on all platforms. That's a lot. So much so that stats are a thing now, I think, due to the Force Awakens trailers, that they started actually tracking this. And it's only the third highest ever, which actually saddens me. First is It, the awful horror film, on 196 million. No, I think that must have been like Facebook views, because I saw it all over Facebook and nowhere on YouTube. Second is Thor, that had like 131. Third, Last Jedi, 129. Considering it was Star Wars' second trailer, I think that gives it more credit than the others having their debuts.
I don't understand the It one at all. I mean, it's made such massive money as well. I don't quite get it. But yeah, I mean, 129 million views day one. That's just an insane amount of people watching that. I mean, you saw the numbers. We watched the trailer when it came out at 3:00 in the morning UK time, and already you could see how quickly it was jumping up every time you looked at the YouTube figure. It was just jumping by the million. It was just massive, the amount of people flying through that. And I'm guessing, I bet that's monetized, and I bet that made some good money for Disney just on a YouTube ad alone.
It's just paid back like the Lucasfilm, like from George Lucas. We just paid the budget of The Last Jedi with the trailer.
I was going to say, what was it? They paid $4 billion at the time, and it seemed like a massive amount of money.
They had $3 billion. Was it? They got $2 billion from The Force Awakens, and they got $1 billion from merch. So they had $3 billion inside a couple of months of the first film coming out.
Rogue One made great money, and just I think they've already probably almost, with this, they will surpass the amount of money they paid Lucas for this franchise. Without batting an eyelid, 3 movies in, there you go. There's our money done, our money paid out.
Yeah, now Han Solo's our profit film.
Yeah.
All them reshoots. The reshoots don't matter. They've already paid for themselves. I bet that's
exactly.
Looking at it. As long as it's not Justice League, we're all right. But as we've approached Phil's favorite segment, I'm not doing Rebels the way he says it, but it's Rebels recap. He loves the way he pronounces it. I think he tries to do it like Tarkin, doesn't he? So season 4 started, and we've had 2 episodes a week this season, and so obviously we've had two. We've got 4 episodes to report on, but luckily for us, it's basically just 2 episodes of 2 story arcs. Right. So the first story arc was on Mandalore. What was it called? Heroes of Mandalore?
Heroes of Mandalore Part 1 and Part 2. I'll give you just a brief breakdown. It was Heroes of Mandalore Part 1. The rebels with Clan Ren basically go on a mission to rescue Sabine's father. And that literally is in a nutshell the whole episode. The second episode of Heroes of Mandalore was Sabine learns that the weapon that you see at the end of Part 1 was her weapon that she designed, and then it's up to them whether they're going to destroy the weapon or use it. George, I mean, if you want to go first with your thoughts on we'll go just as this as a one story. I think there's no point breaking them into separates. It was very much a flowing story, but
I was so severely disappointed. Last year, when they had the Mandalore stuff, I loved it. And then Celebration, they dropped that. It wasn't a teaser, but it was the concept of the Mandalorian armor on the floor.
Helmets,
and they're like, they're having a big civil war. This is going to be major. And the last 3 months, and even with that TV spot like 2 weeks ago, I had it not in my head, but I thought this is going to be like Clone Wars, like a Clone Wars arc. This is going to be the Mandalorian story. This is why we aren't going to see Mandalore again in the universe, because of all this stuff going on. And then the episode aired, and I was kind of, so 20 minutes is to save her dad? Like, that's not the Civil War I remember from the trailer. Then you had the bomb at the final 30 seconds, which was like, yes, I'm down. That's a really cool thing to do, kill the parents with their own weapon. Classic storyline, but it's going to work really well for this. It'll have repercussions. Got us to start next episode. There we have it, the iconic image of all the sort of Dalek remains of the Mandalorians. And you're like, oh no, her parents are dead. Like, this is going to be pretty big. I wonder how she'll recover, what she'll do. And then 5 seconds later, oh look, mom and brother, you survived. You were right in the corner of that attack. And I was just there like, fuck this. Oh no, sorry, I didn't mean so.
Not that word though. Yeah.
I was like, no, because the issue, not the issue of season 3. Season 3 was excellent. The issue at the final was that they made out it was a loss, but everyone survived, and actually it seemed very fine, and everyone seems fine in the series. To have a Mandalore story arc, and not that anyone needs to die, but it didn't even feel like a Mandalore story arc. It just felt like actual filler episodes that Sabine said, okay, I can't lead Mandalore, you can lead it, Clone Wars reference. I'm going back to the Rebels crew. And that doesn't just sting in the fact it's the final season. That stings that you had so much of Sabine's storyline in season 3 being about her accepting her role, that she's going to take the Darksaber, that she's going to lead them, and to lead them for approximately like 25 minutes. I don't know. I just feel like they wasted like 6 months of character development, and then not even moaning that they left the mum and brother alive, but that takes away any emotional stuff. Like they just killed basically a bunch of stormtroopers essentially by having the Mandalorians like armor. It's a really cool weapon, but it didn't do anything because it was just peasant people that died. It wasn't anyone important. And then when you get to the end, it was so obvious that she's going to switch it on the stormtroopers. That I don't know. It left nothing. And this was the arc I was most looking forward to of almost all of season 4. Take out the Thrawn stuff. The thing I'm looking forward to, except obviously with their deaths, was the Mandalore scenes. And I don't know. I don't have to be too harsh on it, but for what we've seen with other Star Wars cartoons, I just felt really let down by it.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And I was left very much with the feeling of, meh, you're right. It was built up so heavily. I mean, it's right through when we talk about Rebels. Sabine's never been my favorite character, but towards the end of season 3, she was really growing on me. And you're right, that whole her going back to lead was excellent. We knew Bo-Katan was coming back in the series. It's been spoiled way before season 4 ever came out. So yeah, all right, I kind of get that was then going to be where they go. That Satine was ruler, and now that's going to be passed on to Bo-Katan to now be the leader of Mandalore with the Black Saber. And it felt like it was an hour of episode to get to that handover of that Black Saber and that weapon story. The weapon story could have been so much better. And you're right, that should have wiped her parents out. It really should have killed her mum and her brother. Obviously, her dad was with her, the artist. That's where she gets it from. And yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so we had 22 minutes of them rescuing her dad, and then the weapon went off, and Sabine was like, "Oh no, that's my weapon!" And just the actual imagery when you went to that field where the weapon went off was superb. I mean, the crumbling armor, the helmets all on the floor. But yeah, it then broke up any tension at all in the episodes when we were right at the edge. Oh, all right. So it just like tickled our feet. We're fine. And it just, you're right. It was, to me, it was a bit of a cop out. That's where you should have, you need to start now in this series. We've got 14 episodes and they're going to fly through. You really want to start building the tension now of nobody's now safe in this lead up. And that just didn't happen. Sabine helped them find the weapon, and they went to then destroy it. You're right, she turned it on the stormtroopers by pressing some buttons, so changed the polarity. There were some really nice parts in there. Sabine talked about the history inside of their armor, that the armor that she wears was 500 years old, and that's got the blood and the sweat of Mandalorian's past, and she forged that armor. And that's all great, but the substance behind around it, that there were just moments, there was nothing of real substance throughout the rest of that episode that kept me gripped. It was one that I kind of hardly paid any attention to. It just passed me by, to be honest.
Yeah, sorry about that. There's only echo then for a sec. I had a pretty little issue with my computer, but it's fine now. Yeah, it did. It just took you out of it. And for a show to return, you don't get a lot of time with your lead characters. Like you have the one that disappeared for a couple of months, which is fine, and you get a load of Ezra stuff. But except that, like, there really wasn't much to it. I think it was a missed opportunity. And someone's going to say, oh, yeah, but this is Disney. But it's their property. And in the first episode of season 1, when they basically beheaded 2 Imperial officers.
I mean, they vaporized a lot of Mandalorians, but not the ones that they should have, basically.
It's like the whole, sorry to talk about Star Trek, but what do they call them? The red shirts?
Where, like, mean nothing, but will be the ones that die.
Yeah, exactly. And, we've got stormtroopers for that, but the fact that Mandalorian's got results to, I mean, there wasn't even that scene when they get the sword and run forward. That didn't even look any cool. Like, what did she even do anything with the dark saber in this episode? No, she just passed it over, and I don't know. The best things about this were the references to Clone Wars, which isn't how the season 4 Rebels stories need to go. But I can say that the Saw Gerrera episodes were fantastic.
We'll leave the first 2 behind because there's not a lot really to talk about on them. But you're right. For me, this is where Rebels started. These 2 episodes were certainly not filler. This was great Star Wars. The first episode, in the Name of the Rebellion Part 1, the members of the Rebel Alliance, the Ghost Crew, they need to accept a mission to spy on an Imperial outpost that they'd rather destroy. And they go to do that. It's basically a big satellite dish. And they go to try and listen in and monitor and end up having to destroy it, wanting to destroy it. And that's how it plays out when Saw Gerrera comes along, because he just likes blowing things up. Some really nice character points in this as well. Mon Mothma and Saw Gerrera having that little tit for tat over his big hologram was excellent. I love the fact we've got the actual character, the film, the actors playing those 2 parts as well. It's just great. Forrest Whitaker just owns that character so much now. I love that they've done so well on the characterization of him in Rogue One with the hair. Even his funny eye looks perfect in this. But the first episode was great. We got to see a V-Wing, which was awesome to see that. 2 tubes as well, pilot with Saw. And that, for me, that first one was a nice enough episode. There wasn't anything. It wasn't the episode, the second part of this episode, which was immense. Most of it, kind of. We'll talk about that. But yeah, George, your thoughts on the first part of this?
I didn't mind it because, they go on to Yavin. They set the Rebels. They have even a reunion. I'm going to say Krennic then with why do I always forget his name? Callus. Yeah, you get a reunion. That felt like episode 1, and it was like, oh, Sabine, you're back! Yay! That's literally what Hera said.
Yeah,
and I just feel the Mandalorian episodes was created to literally, because this felt like the start of season 4.
Yeah, definitely.
And straight away you get Saw, the giant hologram. We know from Rogue One that he fell out with Mon Mothma, and we literally get it in the same way that in Rogue One you think the Rebels aren't the nicest guys in the world. They're spies. They're killing people. They're doing things. And you've got Saw who says, "I told you about these relays ages ago. You didn't listen, and people have died since not telling them, and more people are going to die because not telling the truth." And then she goes, "Yeah, but you're killing people." And it's a really well done scene, probably one of the best scenes of the episode, actually. Just Saw and Mon Mothma going to, because they're both in the same cause, but they're such opposite ends of that, and it just created that fascinating dynamic. And then that leads to conflict within Ezra of what he thinks right and what he thinks wrong. And like Ezra always does, he picks dark side first and then turns the light side at the end of it. But it was just fascinating to see them interact with each other on screen, and the satellite stuff. Yeah, it was fine. Nothing important bits because it was leading up to Saw for that part 2.
Yeah,
and the first thing I looked at was his legs. That sounds so wrong, but in Rogue One, he's got metal legs, droid legs. In Rebels in season 3, he had normal legs. I thought, oh, are they going to go into Geonosis? No, they stayed on. And I thought, are they going to go today? They have stayed on. I know it's a spoiler for part 2. The legs are on, and I really hope that means that we're going to get them again at some point in the season to get the full origin complete. So what I will say is that it all leads back, not just forwards to Rogue One, but it leads back to the Geonosis arc. It would have been so easy for them to bring him in and be like, oh, look, this is me. I'm having a different day, but I'm here, rather than everything's connected in his same story arc. And rewatching this, it adds so much more to Rogue One, because when the Death Star appears and he sees it, that's his realization of the super weapon. And when you watch this arc in particular, that really completes that. How he's already clearly quite a crazy guy, but he is going bat crazy, trying to find out what's happening. And he's got one of the most fascinating story arcs I've seen in the TV show for a long time.
I mean, the point you made there about him when he saw the Death Star is one of the things I thought when he saw it as well. When he mentions, we'll get into the second episode now because it's the great. I think it's probably definitely the best of 4 episodes I've had. It might be up there one of my favorite episodes of Rebels because of Saw Gerrera. He played this so well in this, and the mentions to Rogue One that we got. But yeah, that mentioned that when he sees the Jenna get destroyed, and you now know that's his realization of, I knew I was right. This is exactly what I was talking about, and there's nothing I can do now. Game over. I've told you everything I could. But yeah, I mean, the episode itself, take Ezra and Sabine off the big satellite dish, and off he goes on a mission to find out what this weapon is that the Empire are working on. So they find it's just a public transport, isn't it? It's just a carrier that he thinks the weapon's being carried on. And it does turn out that the Empire are in there. They've got a lot of technicians locked away, and that we find out. Obviously, this is maybe going to be Gale and Urso's first crew before they got taken out. But then it's basically about Saw going crazy. He mentions to Ezra that since he found out what was going on in Geonosis, that's all he's thought about. That's his end goal. He just wants to know what this weapon is. He's still looking out for the galaxy. He's kind of a hero still. He's just going about it his way, and that's maybe not the way, like you say, my mother wants to go about it. She wants much more of a peaceful look at it. And I think Ezra says it that so they're already ready for a war that the Rebel Alliance don't even know they're in yet. And I thought that was an excellent line to finish off the episode with. There is so many mentions that kind of give you feels about Rogue One. We get Jeddah mentioned. That's where they're getting the kyber crystals from. If spoiler alert, we're talking about big kyber crystals. We also get Krennic mentioned in there as well. And we get Krennic's own bodyguards in the form of Death Troopers. George, talk about the Death Troopers.
You messaged me saying you're going to have a problem with this episode. And I was watching, I was like, but I keep saying they bottled it because I said that about episode 1. And I thought, no, they're not going to like try and kill someone and not do it, are they? And then the Death Troopers come in and the straight message, I'm like, yes, Death Troopers, yes. And then they even make the noise when they're first shown. And then approximately 10 seconds later, a couple of them get taken out by smoke. And then one speaks. And not in the amazing Death Trooper language. They've mixed the Death Trooper sound effect with a really deep woman's voice to create a Death Trooper commander. And I get nitpicky about stuff, but Phil agrees with us on this one as well, didn't he? He said the same. Yeah. It takes you out of the episode so much because we've had an entire film without them talking. We've had a game without them talking. We've got Battlefront 2, they're not talking. And then it just randomly speaks in Rebels, and you're thinking, well, maybe they're having it's having a conversation with its superiors, and it's like, yes, sir, take them out, command. But it's nothing that needed to be dialogue. And it's a shame because it was a stunning episode. But I really hope someone just goes at home and just gets the sound effects and just puts it over the top, because I don't know. I'm just confused as to why they had to speak, really, because they didn't add anything to the story. It takes the episode, really good episode, and also it was pretty embarrassing that they've bigged up the Death Troopers. These are the SAS basically of the Stormtroopers. They're trained on Scarif. That's why they're not in the other films, because they killed them too. These are the best guys, and they get taken out by a bunch of. Well, you've got Mandalorian and a Jedi kid, but did the technicians get one over them at the end as well?
It's just it doesn't sit right. The voice that they use, they sound absolutely terrified, and that's not what I expect from the Death Troopers at all. That did take you like, that's not what I wanted from a Death Trooper at all. And you're right. I think it should have just been that broken up noise, sort of some language that they've maybe hidden behind some cipher, so you can't hear what they're saying, apart from the Death Troopers can. I think that would have been cool just to keep that noise. You're right. It just, it didn't sit right with me. I thought that was, and it's the only takeaway that I've got bad from this episode. Apart from that, as I say, it's definitely up there in my best episodes of Rebels. But it's just, that was just a moment. I knew as soon as it happened, I was like, George, they're going to have real problems with this part of this episode.
And it was a shame because I still like the episode, but it's left like a sour taste in my mouth, thinking back. And I did search on Twitter Death Troopers, and Lucasfilm had tweeted a picture of there's a Death Trooper. It looked amazing because it was coming out of smoke. Yeah. These buzzing people. Then underneath that were the people that watched it. Like, why the hell were they talking? This was stupid. And just the usual Star Wars fan base replies. And I'm happy I'm not the only one that shared that, but it does take that. they didn't need to be in this episode. Like, yes, they're
Maybe
protecting a kyber crystal, and I've never
I
seen
would
a
have
kyber
thought
crystal
maybe
that
they could have
much.
had one death trooper and the others be stormtroopers. So when they got all cowardly and starting scared, you could have that with the stormtroopers, and then just have that like one death trooper who's
Yeah,
there who gets through. That would have made much more sense to me. Just that Krennic sent one of his guards just to make sure it gets where it needs to be. But yeah, for them to all be death troopers and to go out so easily, just kind of took away a little bit of their appeal in Rogue One. That you think these are so good.
I mean, the only person we saw kill a Death Trooper in Rogue One is Baze.
Yeah,
Not even the Skies. They kill the X-wing pilots. They land on the beach. They wipe out that squad. They technically killed Chirrut. They still technically kill Baze. I'm sorry, Cassian does kill one, doesn't he? I think Cassian kills one, which isn't a bad way to go. But it's, I don't know. It's just, it was like, I love the fact they're with Thrawn, that we've seen them in clips that they're walking with them. That makes sense to be the high ups, but they just didn't need to be in this. And it's a shame because the Rogue One references are amazing. Maybe this shows they don't need to reference every tidbit.
Yeah.
The Kyber Crystal was cool. Didn't know they came that big. But seeing how crazy Sora is with them, especially having Ezra there because he has a lightsaber, seeing how crazy Sora is, I'm just going to blow it up and let it fly into the Star Destroyer. It was a really good episode, and it set up a very, very interesting story arc. Hopefully, which does get paid off at the end.
Yeah, that's the main thing I take out. I mean, it's a great episode. I love the fact they've got this massive kyber crystal is what they're finding. Ezra can hear it. He says he can hear it singing as soon as he gets onto the ship that it's boarded on. But he got that when he was searching for his own crystal as well. He could hear almost a humming. And the fact that it gets destroyed and blows up the entire ship and sends out that circular wave as well of energy like it does when the Death Star blows up.
We get the Death Star sound effect as well. That's one of the things I noticed. When it does blow up, you get the little like zap bit.
Yeah.
That was really cool, I thought.
It's just, I don't know if that's going to be that crystal. I don't know if that power, because obviously the main laser is made up of so many of those little lasers that come out around it. So that one crystal is just for one of those mini lasers that makes up the big laser.
I think it would be a. I think the mini lasers are full of gigantic ones. I think there'd be more than one, because they said they took all the kyber from Jeddah, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're just taking it all and just chucking it into a pit or something to put together. But it was cool.
It was a really great episode. You're right. Again, I've got to go back, but the visuals look stunning. To go back to Yavin 4 after seeing it in Rogue One, and it's perfectly recreated. You see that Rebel base, and you're around that glowing table again that you see in New Hope, that you see in Rogue One, and we're not at Rogue One yet, which is kind of cool. The Y-wings coming in, and we know that X-wings are coming soon at some point as well. Just a really, really great episode of Rebels. If again. I get a lot of diehards aren't into watching a cartoon, but some of these episodes can fill in so much story. That, for me, is a great precursor to Rogue One. A really great episode. And I haven't watched the trailer yet for next week's episodes, so I'm not sure what we're actually looking at. I don't know if you've seen it yet, George, or not.
I have seen both previews.
Okay.
So we're getting, I won't get into details, I don't want to get spoiler free, but we're getting 2 singular episodes. Dorant in one, Hera and Kanan in New Closer in the other. So I'm excited to see what they do. We haven't had a lot of Thrawn yet, so it's always a bonus. So that's got more dialogue in a 1-minute trailer than 4 episodes so far. Let's get the thing back on track. But I think we get, is it 16 episodes the entire series? I think
it's 14. I think.
Oh, is it 14?
It's only 14. So I mean, we've got 10 episodes left of Rebels.
Yeah,
so
and Dave Filoni. I meant Dave, not you. Sorry. He did say this is the first Rebel series with no filler episodes.
Except for those two.
Yeah. They said like, oh no, we started something on Mandalore, now we have to finish it.
I think it is that they want to just round out that story, but unfortunately they took 2 episodes. I think that could have been done in 1 episode. The rescue, the first half of it, the weapon, the second half, and it could have been done, had an extra episode of something else, AP5 or something singing. But yeah, so I think out of the first 4 episodes, completely meh for the first 2. The 3rd episode was a much better start to the series. Episode 4 was up there in the highest level of Rebels. I really thought it was excellent, and I hope for more of that as we get towards the close of this series.
Definitely. I'd say we move on now because
Yeah.
we've spoken a lot. It's nice to get Rebels back, actually, to be fair. It is nice to get it in its final season, too. Next up, we've got Star Wars, and there's not much news at all, I'm not going to lie. They've announced a one-shot comic that's going to come out in January, set before Episode 8. This is going to be about DJ, played by Benicio del Toro. Again, we know nothing about him yet, unless you translate the Aurebesh on his Pop Funko figure, which is what the internet said to do. I'm not going to say it's not a spoiler, but it's just points anyway. But so that's going to be cool. That's coming after the film, so we'll know more about him much then. And they've said it's basically like what was he doing in the galaxy before he met them? Just the usual storyline.
Yeah.
So that's coming out. That could be cool. And another thing is that the Ultimate Lego Star Wars Encyclopedia has now been released. I saw an article on it. You've gone, I think it's bookclub.com or the bookpeople.com.
Yeah.
Get it for $9.99 and retails $35. I get paid tomorrow, thank God. No, Friday, thank God. But that's a really good price. It's got everything up, including the new Millennium Falcon. So that's probably the best Lego Stars we can get.
It's going to be the most complete. They said it's every mini. It's complete. It gives you every minifigure they've released so far as well. So for collectors out there who want to get these things, it's going to be like a Bible for Lego collecting a Star Wars line. I can't wait. I'm going to order that as well in the next few days and get that through. That's my jam.
Definitely, same here. It does look awesome. That's Star Wars. Toy shelf. We had nothing until earlier. David sent me a sneaky little picture from. So obviously there's Black Series, then there was the Disney version, the Disney Elite Series figures, which started great, dipped off, and they're basically just the baby brothers, aren't they, to Black Series?
Yeah, like a die-cast metal figure, so they've got a nice bit of weight behind them, which is the one thing, but sometimes their paint jobs aren't great, but then we get that with the Black Series, and like there's a Jyn Erso figure that came out, but she's very much Disney-fied. She's got big eyes, and you can see she looks like a Disney princess, just very cartoonized over her. Word? Nah, doesn't matter. But yeah, so they have released they brought a few out for Force Friday. For Last Jedi, they brought out a Rey and a Luke, and there are a few others, but they're bringing out some new ones on Friday, the 27th this Friday, 28th?
27th.
I have no idea what day we're on.
27th, yeah, 27th.
So this Friday, they're releasing a load of new ones to go with The Last Jedi. We're doing a Chewbacca with Porgs. So if you've ever wanted die-cast Porgs, now's your opportunity. They're bringing out also a Finn in his Imperial outfit, First Order outfit. I think we're getting a Rose, and a Snoke as well is in that collection, and a new C-3PO. There's a Phasma there, but she comes with her gun from The Force Awakens Phasma, so I think it might be a repack. Until I actually see that, I'm going to have a look on Friday to go and have a look at the actual figures, because I've got quite a few of them, so I'll probably maybe get one or two of these. Certainly, I really like the look of the Finn, and I want a Snoke for definite. So I'll have a look at those. But they're really, some of them are really nice. You have to kind of scour through some of them to say some of the paint jobs aren't great. And they do have big screw holes in the back of them, so you can't really look at them other than at the front. But yeah, so they have come out. They say they'll be out on Friday if anyone wants to go collect any of those. But other than that, we're really low on toy shelf news. There's not. I think we're in that hiatus period now between this is what's been out. You've got to now wait until December, and then everything we've got spoiler-wise, will be thrown out to you.
Yeah, and if you're like me and you've already spent too much the last few months, you're kind of like a bit blessed. Like normally when I'm doing this, it'd be like, oh look, Hot Toys have released this, Hot Toys have released this, Funko's released this, Black Shoes released this, and when you're doing the schedules, you're seeing everything is up for sale. And this week was like, oh, nothing, yeah, yay. But everything is building up to Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yes.
A perfect way to move into games, let's be honest.
Yes, it is.
They released a 2-minute story trailer last week, literally for the story mode, which looks amazing. If you haven't guessed it by now, the Death Star blows up and it kickstarts a story mode that's going to result in the First Order being a thing. It's the first bit of content between 7 and 8, visual content, not a book, sorry. Although I think it's referenced some of the books apparently. Anyway, the trailer is very cool. I'm not going to go into details on it. What's more important is the stuff that's come after the trailer. They've said the stories are going to be 5 to 8 hours long, dependent on your skill. So it's going to take me 4.
So it's going to take me about 3.5 weeks.
I see. I don't mind because but I mean, I've grew up with games like Call of Duty, first-person shooters.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the story modes are always about this length, and then
Yeah.
because deep down it's about online. But it's nice to get that story, so I can't wait to get the game, get it, just abolish and fly through that story, and then start the online. I think that's what actually probably most Star Wars fans are going to do.
Yeah.
But no, that's the truth. They haven't said. I mean, normally with these games, they'll be like collect this, collect that in the story mode, but they haven't said that. I'm sure they'll have something like that somewhere. But I just want to get the story done, find out what happens then before it gets spoiled. Then I can do it online and just obliterate everyone. That's what I've been waiting for. As of this week, they've been announcing the heroes you can play as. Obviously, we knew of Han Solo, Rey, Boba Fett, and Darth Maul. Obviously, we know that Luke's going to be in it. They've officially announced Leia, Lando today, and the Emperor. So basically, they're getting rid of all the people that have been in the previous games.
Yeah.
Announcing all the old games so that when all the future announcements come through, I think that's when they're going to get the most reaction to it. So if you go on their Facebook or Twitter page, they've got like a 30-second trailer for each character, going over their special moves and whatnot and all that stuff. So that's kind of cool. That's getting you. It's just tactical marketing. It's going to get you hyped and hyped until the release. We're about 3 weeks off that now, I think.
It's good. Yeah, November I want to say 14th. It's around then.
Yeah, it depends what edition you get. If you get it 3 days early, the special one, or you get the normally on the Friday, no one's going to hear from me when that's out. Let's be honest.
If you want exact dates, Ones of the Force is not the place to come. But we know it's coming out in November. That's fine. And George has his pre-order, so he will have it. And we may not be able to get him for a few episodes because he's killing people online. But yeah, it'll be good when it comes.
3 weeks.
Yeah, the story episode looks amazing. Some of the visuals that came in that, just that robot that has the Emperor's image inside it to give his last message out, I love. And there's some really good visuals of the TIE fighter flying through the blown up Death Star parts in space. It just looks amazing. Now I can't wait to get stuck in that storyline. I say I'm not the best gamer in the world by any means, so it will take me probably more than the 8 hours they've quoted, but that to me is great. If I can get a Star Wars game like that and play for a couple of days, all well and good with me. I can't wait to get it as well now.
Yeah, and another thing, they have announced, unfortunately, a Battlefront-themed PS4 Pro. Right. Years ago, when the first Battlefront came out, I saw that Darth Vader PS4. I was like, that's cool, but it could be better. It should be better. I'll wait for Battlefront 2. Then in July, I bought my PS4 Pro because obviously I did the whole setup stuff. And I thought, fingers crossed, they're not doing a Battlefront console. And they announced it last week. My God, I'm so happy that I bought my normal one. It's the most disgusting console I've ever seen. It doesn't actually have anything relevant Star Wars. It's got like I think the Inferno Squad logo slapped on the front, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. There's your Star Wars themed controller, and I'm there like, thank God I got mine early because it would have been cool to get a Battlefront console, but that's not what you want to pay for. And I saw the comments and everyone else saying the same. Wait, this is it. This is your Battlefront themed PS4, and considering it's Star Wars, like I remember Xbox 360 when that Kinect Star Wars game came. I'd never had an Xbox. They released a really cool R2-D2 console that was like blue and white, and they had the golden controllers for 3PO, and that looked awesome. You think maybe in this stage they could do something cool, but no, it's too hard for them.
Yeah, just a decal sticker. There we go. That is lovely. We'll charge another £50 for that decal.
Yeah, exactly. Get the game 3 days early. Have your console. Get it all set up. Do your 10 gigabyte update or whatever the hell they're going to want to do. But so that's the new console. If you want to waste your money, buy that. If you want to be sensible, just stick to your normal PS4 or Xbox One and just buy the game. Get the special edition. Get it early. If you care and want the other stuff, it's going to be worth it. But the other thing, we've got game news. There's a studio called Visceral Games who've been working on the untitled, not that untitled Han Solo film, the entitled probable Han Solo game. They've been working on this for years. Everyone's been looking forward to it for years. A proper single-player story Star Wars game. We've seen glimpses of it in clips, and EA shut down the studio. Yeah. And the famous was to South Park, and it's gone.
The chicken jibs.
I want to say I'm fuming, but I'm not. We haven't seen anything of it, and normally EA, they will market the games as early as they can do.
Yeah. And
to shut down an entire studio, whether it's gonna. I mean, there was the amazing game everyone wanted was Star Wars 1313, and Disney wiped it before it came out, which made sense because Disney bought them. And this, I don't know, like everyone's going crazy about EA wanting your money, and they do, but I really don't want to see a single player game sacrifice. But single player games don't actually make as much money, not even through like microtransactions and stuff. Single player games, some people only buy games for online. And now, unfortunately, the way gaming's gone, it's all about your pre-order bonuses and what you can do, and this, that, and the other. And I'm not surprised they're probably just shut down Visceral because they're not going to make them the money they want, which is a shame. We miss out some Star Wars content, but yes, it hopefully gets passed on to another company, but I doubt it.
Yeah, from what I'd heard as well, coming down through the internet, really, is where you hear these things, that the EA were going to take this, but they're not going to have it as the same kind of game. They're going to change what kind of game it is. That's going to be more of an MV.
An online game.
Yes, one of those. So yeah, they're going to change it and use the same sort of setting. So whether we see anything of that, the footage that they released of this game looked incredible. And it's a shame to see. I'm very much, if I'm going to play a game, I am a one player online by myself. I like to get through a game because if I go online, I just get shot. But yeah, so I was looking forward to that. But yeah, to shut down an entire studio and not just go, stop making the game, guys. Let's move on. We're closing this down.
Yeah, it's a shame, especially with like EA nowadays. Not EA, sorry, like the industry. Apparently, it's really expensive to make games. Like I'm more into my films, but apparently some games budget of like 100 mil, and they're just cutting their losses early. It's just ridiculous. But I really, they're going to change it. They're going to put an online on it. They're going to put microtransactions on it. It's going to be Battlefront 3, isn't it? It's going to be Battlefront 3. Or like, I don't know, Han Solo, a Battlefront story. You can see it now, can't you? Like, but
totally take it and do it that way. Yes.
Yeah, it's such a shame. And the thing is, it was meant to come out next year originally.
There's supposed to. I mean, they showed footage out of it. I don't know if it was Celebration they had.
Maybe a couple of seconds, didn't they, and stuff.
They were showing it, so they were even at that point they were still like, "This game's going to be amazing," and then it's like, "No, it's gone."
Yeah, it's a shame. Unfortunately, it happens, but it's we've had like 2 Star Wars games now in the last.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've had Battlefront. Really, other than Battlefront
1 and Battlefront 2. All I can think was Force Unleashed and Star Wars Connect.
Yeah. Oh, Connect! You promised so much, delivered so little. Honestly. But yeah, so it's really, yeah. I mean, that's us done with sort of the news for the week. We've covered off obviously the games and the trailers and what's coming in Rebels. But yeah, so we're going to move on to our Cantina Talk to close out this episode. George, I'll leave this all to you, sir.
Yeah, so last Friday I was very fortunate to attend Michael Giacchino, who I called Michael Giacchino. I called him Michael Giacchino. I called him Michael Giacchino for the last how many years? And on Friday I found out he's called Michael Giacchino. Shows how much I know. It was his 50th birthday a couple of weeks ago. Royal Albert Hall in London did a birthday gala, which was more of them just saying we're just doing a Michael Giacchino concert. And then that turned into Michael Giacchino co-conducting the concert. And that also turned into Michael Giacchino inviting all of his friends that are rich, famous film directors to come up and chat too. And have they turned maybe a cool event into an Unreal event. And I got tickets quite late, I won't lie. And I was row 3. And obviously, Michael, were you thinking, why are you talking about him for? He obviously did the Rogue One soundtrack, the first non-John Williams score. And we had J.J. Abrams in attendance giving a talk. We had Nuneaton's Finest, a place near me, which you may have heard on the news recently because of a terrorist attack, which was actually a bloke and his ex-wife at bowling and hostages. Nuneaton's Finest, Gareth Edwards, who directed Rogue One. And we're not forgetting another Star Wars alumni, Colin Trevorrow.
Oh, yes.
It was a fantastic evening, but obviously they did a suite of the Rogue One music. They did the Hope, not the Hope song, but more the Rebel theme, the Jin theme, I guess you could say, followed by easily my favourite part. Well, actually, no, I'm jumping ahead. Before this, his friend Adam Savage is hosting it. He comes out with the UK garrison. He's dressed up as Krennic. Got about 10 stormtroopers on stage, and he was doing it before he was introduced to everyone. Then they did the Rogue One suite, which was amazing. I teared up a little bit, I won't lie. So you had the Jin theme, then you had the Krennic stuff, which was just amazing because they actually had him walking with the Krennic song in the background, which is just one of my favorite moments of the entire Star Wars series. Just whenever Krennic walks, the little like theme tune he has is, I prefer it to Darth Vader. I'm not going to lie. And then we had the Chirrut and Baze, their theme, more Chirrut's theme, I guess. And then you had Your Father Would Be Proud, which you knew they had to end it with.
Yeah.
And it clips on the screen that perfectly synced it to their death. Very, very, very well composed score. It was amazing to hear a suite of it in person. It was a fantastic evening. What followed on, obviously, Gareth Edwards did a really good talk. Well, actually, he did the talk before. He basically said that he had 4.5 weeks to compose the entire soundtrack.
That's crazy.
Because I always thought it was 6. Everyone always thought he had 6 weeks. Nope, it was 4.5. Gareth Edwards made everyone aware it's 4.5 weeks. He goes, his favorite day was when he turned up and he said, Michael Giacchino, he gave me this smirk like he'd done something, or I asked him, what do you do? He goes, I've submitted the track list to Disney. For anyone that's got the album, Michael Giacchino is very famous for putting puns as the track titles. It doesn't all of them. Obviously, Star Wars is a different game. So they made him change it to the official ones, but they did let him put it on the soundtrack, like in brackets on the sort of booklet bit, the other names. So you had, I think you had like Transmission Impossible. Your Jeddah, I think is it You're the One That I Want? I think it's like Your Jeddah, the one that I want, or something like that. Basically, it was just amazing. Gareth Edwards said when he saw them all, he says he was just like in love with them. So they made sure they had them put on. But that was great. And then after that, because Michael Giacchino co-composed the night, he did some suites and some not. The 5 of us brought him out in cuffs because obviously people didn't think of it, but I did the Easter eggs that he did play a stormtrooper in The Force Awakens. He's composed all of JJ's films. Colin Trevorrow came out before all of these. I didn't talk about Star Wars though. He talks about dinosaurs. And then JJ did come out later on in the evening. You know, one of the last suites. Obviously, he's done Star Trek, Mission Impossible with him. Loads of it. It was really, really wild an evening. But I loved that each time he come out, you got cheers from different tidbits of the crowd.
Yeah.
So like, obviously, everyone cried it up. Gareth Edwards had a really loud sort of cheer, and you could just hear that's the Star Wars fans. Then you had the Trekkies for the Star Trek theme, which was really, I'm not a big fan of Star Trek, but I loved the soundtracks of the new ones. You could tell all the Star Trek fans there. You had the Pixar people that were quiet but there, and then you had the odd Lost fan because he did that music, and it was an awesome night. One downside is that, I mean, I debated this for a while, that I'd bring all my posters to get signed. I thought against it because Royal Albert Hall is not the kind of place you turn up with a giant cardboard poster. I did have to get the last train home. However, I believe that a couple of people I saw on Twitter, they waited afterwards by the stalls, and that Colin Trevorrow, J.J. Abrams, and Michael Giacchino did come out. They did meet them. They signed stuff, and they had conversations with them, which would have been awesome. I'm not too fussed missing that because normally I would be, but I think that I wouldn't have the audacity to bring them kind of things to a concert like that.
Yeah.
When it was like the most bizarre birthday bash, and they were making jokes saying that apparently his garden's basically like Disneyland's. And then Gareth Edwards did say, how many people have been charged £50 to go to a birthday party before? But it was a wonderful evening, and just go and search it on YouTube. The one thing that's killed me is my favourite suite of the entire night is not on YouTube yet. The Planet of the Apes ones. Everything else is up, but no one uploaded Planet of the Apes. Maybe they're all crying like I was. But it was awesome, and I really, 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 really. If John Williams doesn't do episode 9, I'm sure he will. If he doesn't, for whatever reason, it has to be Michael Giacchino, especially with JJ. But what I would give for this guy, just to maybe do a deal and just do every single spin-off film soundtrack, what he did inside 4 weeks with
Unreal.
With that film, and the fact he actually outright said, you know, it would have been so easy to have put the Imperial theme in. It would have been so easy to put every theme you know in, but I would have my spin on things.
Yeah.
So Krennic had a distinct theme, you know. Each character had distinct themes, whereas he was able to do stuff, and it was like the whole evening. If you look at his career, he's done a lot of. He's done Jurassic World, John Williams before. He's done Star Wars, John Williams before. What for John Williams properties? He's done some of them, I think. I think he's done some more that John Williams worked on. And when he takes his old themes, he doesn't just redo them. He he appreciates them what they are, but he doesn't want to recycle them. So he'll often in his soundtracks he'll do a cover of the original, then the next track will be his new version and stuff like that. So it's really cool. But he's one of the most talented composers, and they did a really cool Super 8 video at the end where he grew up wanting to be a filmmaker. They put together all the Super 8 clips from what he made when he was a kid and stuff. And he was very, very Star Wars, E.T., Indiana Jones, very much inspired by all of this. So you can see when people say he's the next John Williams, he's clearly took that's probably a big part of his childhood, the films and scores he's done. So it's awesome to see that he's been able to work with some of the same properties. But what I'd give for him to do a Star Wars score again and Indiana Jones, if John Williams chooses not to take them, it's going to be amazing.
Excellent, man. Excellent. It sounds amazing. I mean, I saw the YouTube. You sent me a clip. You sent me a link. So I've watched some of it. And it is this. It gave you chills. The Star Wars bit, especially for myself, was something extra. I mean, if I'd been there for the up section, I would probably have left at that point because the tears. I wouldn't be able to see anything else the rest of the night.
It was straight after the intermission. They had everyone. They brought out a special quartet just to do it. And even one of the violinists was crying as she was playing. It was horrible.
Oh, cartoon deaths. You can't beat them. But yes, I think that is us done for this evening.
Yes, it is. It's not in a bad way. It's felt longer than what it has been, which I guess is good. We haven't really been able to chat for a while, but we've got you up to date as usual. We've got our new fancy snazzy artwork all over our YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. So catch us on them, have a look, see what you think. I want to say we've got a lot of stuff planned for episode 8, but we don't. But we know deep down that we will end up doing a lot of stuff. I think when we do hit December, when we're basically in the advent calendar mode for Star Wars, there's going to be a lot more stuff coming. We are basically on a road to The Last Jedi, aren't we?
Yes, we certainly are.
I'm sure there's a better catchphrase of saying that. But no, this has been a fun episode. It's a shame we're doing a film. If you're listening at home, we hope to see you soon. I'm going to be back next time for sure. I'm not doing any more late nights on Wednesdays, which is great. But this has been an episode of One to the Force, Star Wars podcast. I've forgotten the rest.
May the force of others be with you.